for me personally, this trip, organizing this trip, another thing was a huge challenge, and it was a test of certainty all the time. All the moment, from the beginning. Like we were speaking to your dad about the like how we want to manifest a lot of people coming and connecting and to this beautiful place, but and speaking to the Hever earlier, we don't know how much it's worth, even the energy being with your mom, your dad, and all the Hever and the energy of this place until we come. So before, everybody's like, I don't know, maybe it's too expensive, maybe it's not gonna be worth it. But then when you're here, it's like mind blowing. I don't know if you feel like that, guys. Like this weekend has been mind blowing, and but every time, also the last time we did it, for me was a huge growth personally of certainty, and every time that I went through a process of doubt, like it's in any process, in the in my work, in my with my health. And I remember what you just said, that if we are serving and not only connecting and to the creator, if you're in a process of serving the light, like how can you bring more light to the world, and you put that intention to everything you do, then you receive the energy actually to make it happen. But if you're alone, you feel you're like, okay, like who am I to deserve this? You start getting into those thoughts, and then that's where the fear comes.
Right.
So if you remember constantly that, and if you put everything in your life, your business, your money, your relationship, your health, everything into the hands of the creator, and saying, I know that I'm doing this, I want to change this in my life, and I want to achieve this in my life to reveal more light, and you put that intention to every aspect of your life, then you get all the energy possible to make it happen. So that's something that we constantly need to remember and constantly be focused to manifest.
Right. And I think it's such a great point. I think to your point, when things are easy and they make sense to us, then it's easy to be certain. When things are challenging, they're not going our way. That's when we start to question: Am I on the right path? Did I make the right decisions? Should I be studying something else? Does Kabbalah really make sense? All these negativity and thoughts of uncertainty come into our minds. But the one way to always tether yourself and to line yourself back up with the Creator is to remember how you initially felt when that thing happened. And so, again, my father was telling me, why do people get so excited when something comes into their life initially, a new relationship, right? They call it the honeymoon phase. Everything's great. You don't fight. You think that the perfect person. And then one fight happens and you're like, I can't believe I ever dated this person. I don't want to spend any time with them, right? And it's like, how are you so certain about something? And then now you're not, right? And same with a business, or you get a new car and right, the new car has a new smell. It smells great. You touch the steering wheel, and then 3 weeks later, you spill coffee on the seats. You're like, I want to get a new car. Somebody hits you, right? And so it happens with every area of life. But the way that you can appreciate and keep those blessings lasting is to always go back to the initial feeling. Because when you go back to the way that you felt initially, there was no ego, there was no expectation. You were just in a state of the creator. You were in a state of, I'm so appreciative for the blessing that I have in my life that there's nothing that can make me feel any other way. And then when we go back to that state, even when things that come up that are challenging, we're able to overcome them. But as soon as we forget that feeling, we forget the creator involvement, that's when all the challenges come in. That's when Satan can penetrate the force field.
Yeah, I remember that example I always put in my classes about getting the new car. I remember when I was very young, I had a huge desire to get a new car, right? And then once I got it, the energy, the love state, like the falling in love state of you get the car, you're like, wow, this is amazing. But that's what, a couple of days, weeks, and I was like, all this time invested just to feel good, you know, a small period. What is it worth it? And then, if what you're saying, no, if you are actually okay, why I need a car, why I need a relationship, why I need business, why I need money, and you attach it to the purpose of creation. We came here to become more like the light, and your dad, something very inspiring that shared in the new book, The Origins of Consciousness, says that uh, if we are in a state that we're partners with God, partners with the Creator. And what does it mean being partner with the Creator? That you're doing your best effort to change, and also allowing other people or being involved in other people's change, then you can ask for anything.
Hmm.
Anything will be manifested because you're being a partner with the Creator. But the problem is, like, it's the same with a partner. Like, let's say, like, you and me are partners, and let's say you do all the job, and I come once a month to collect the money.
Mm.
I'm not really a partner. I'm just like, a minority shareholder. So okay, you give me whatever, but you're doing all the work. But I cannot tell you like, hey, you should sell this or make this happen, or or change this in the business, because it doesn't make sense. I'm never there. So that's the same with the creator. If we're actually putting our effort and putting priority on that in our lives, then once we ask for something, and and Michael shares, like, it's in your prayers. If you ask for something, it has to manifest because you're a partner. But if you're not a partner, if you're not doing that effort, if you're not putting that priority, if you're not putting priority in your life, sharing this light to others and connecting other people to it, Eitan was saying something amazing. Like, our job really is to awaken awe and appreciation for the creator. That's the job. So if we're not putting that on our priority list, then once you ask for something, why will you receive it? What's the purpose of your, probably just for the ego.
Right.
So that's so powerful, I think, to put that intention, and that's something that inspired me a lot for the last year. And I want to personally grow into that consciousness of always, every aspect of my life. Okay, why will I have children? Why will I have my wife? Why will I have, or I have my the job that I have, my health, everything, my friends? Why? Has to be involved something bigger with the purpose of creation.
Beautiful. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And you touched on prayer. I think that's a great segue, especially in the Kabbalah centers around the world. Prayer is a very big part of everything we do, right? Whether we're at a high holiday like Rosh Hashanah, whether it's Shabbat in the local community, we pray throughout the day. And I think that although we've been, studying for many years, and it's even news to me as well, prayer isn't something that we're saying to the Creator, even though, we're asking for blessings in our life. It's not somebody that's waiting up there for us to say, hey, I want, this blessing in my life. I want this manifestation of physicality. The Creator is merely a reflection of ourselves. So when we act a certain way, the Creator acts the same way to us. If we're judgmental of other people, the Creator becomes judgmental with us. If we're sharing with other people, the Creator becomes sharing with us. And so whenever you think about praying, the most important thing to ask for is, how can I be more like the person that I was always meant to be? How can I be a sharing individual so that I can receive? How can I be an individual that cares for others so that I can be cared for? If you want love, you must give love, right? But in the context of prayer, it's the exact same way. So we can, instead of, praying and saying, Creator, please, I know that I should be doing more. I want more blessings in my life. We should ask for the gift to be able to do the same things that we'd like to receive in turn. And I think, whenever we look at our lives, and we all have different desires and aspirations, desires exist because the Creator has decided that this was already meant to be in our lives. So if you have a desire for a soulmate, it means that you will have a soulmate at the right time. If you have a desire for a new business, the Creator gave you that unique desire, because a lot of people around the world, they might have desires, but they're not as granular as when you're studying spirituality or when you're studying Kabbalah, right? When you come to Kabbalah, it's like the veils are off, you can see clearly, and then the desire expands. But most of the world's not like that. So another thing is just to be appreciative that we even have the desire to fly out here, to connect, to be part of something great like this, to go back to our communities, to share, as David was saying. I think that in itself is something to be excited about. So David, I'd love if you could share maybe something else, and then we'd love to hear from you guys, either something that came up this trip that was a breakthrough, a desire you had when you came here initially, or anything else that you'd like to share.
So just one thing of what you were saying, because yesterday a student came to me. It's a new student, asking me, like, I thought that the Kabbalah Center was another religion. Why are we praying?
Right.
Right? And I think when we meant that Kabbalah is another religion, it's all about the consciousness with what we do things, and what you said. Usually we use prayer as asking for something to be solved in my life.
Right.
And that's like the religious aspect, or the religious consciousness, what the Rav will always say. But it can become a religion if we don't use it with the right consciousness, right? It can become like, it depends on us in what consciousness we're doing the actions that we're doing. And obviously, that's why we, in every prayer and everything, we are constantly explaining what the consciousness is in this moment. And so it's something that we need to grow also, and probably like unlearn what we have learned all our lives,
Right.
of what prayer was, or even what God is, what love is, and like start learning from zero. And that's so powerful, because in my 15 years that I've been in the center, like it's like I need to shut down everything that I knew before or I've learned before, and come from a clean slate. And that's what Rosh Hashanah is, always clean slate, and become a totally new person. So I think that's very powerful, and I hope that even this weekend, it's not Rosh Hashanah, but this weekend is doing that for us as well. Like to things like unlearn everything and start totally new.
Right.
But I think people should share.
Yeah, would love for people to share. If you'd like to, thank you so much. If you'd like to, please come up here and speak into the microphone so everybody can hear you.
So my name is Jeff. My girlfriend and I, we flew in on Thursday night. And on our flight, there was this flight attendant who was so funny. And for 5 hours flying here from Los Angeles, I think she was elevating every passenger on that plane. She was telling jokes, and there was turbulence, and she was light, and it was the pilot's birthday, and she passed around a birthday card. And I had never experienced a flight attendant like that. And I thought, she is the best at where she's at in her life. Unconventional, doing it her way, not trying to fit the mold, not trying to fit how other flight attendants are. And so I was curious for you both, actually, how are you trying to be the best at where you're at when it's so easy to try to play a role, try to play the role of the boss, try to play the role of, the husband, try to play the role when instead you can just be exactly where you're at and be the best where you are. So that's my question for you.
Beautiful. Okay, I'll give my answer, and then David, maybe you give yours. I think that's a beautiful story. First of all, I haven't had a flight like that yet, but I think for me, for those of you that know me, my whole life, it's been, in my mind at least, that there's a certain way that I need to be, a certain way that I need to do. It's as a teenager, like every teenager, I challenged, questioned everything, came back to the study of spirituality in my own way. But it wasn't something that I naturally accepted. Also, being an Aquarius, being born into something, you naturally want to go against it. And so I'd say even now, I think I have an expectation of what I think people expect me to be. But to answer your question, what I realize is as long as you show compassion, love, and genuine care towards other people, it doesn't matter if you say the right words. It doesn't matter if you run the business in the way that you think it needs to be run, whether it's spirituality, whether it's sharing with other people, whether it's my role in the Kabbalah Center. As long as I'm coming from a place that doesn't have ego and genuinely wanting to share, I don't think it matters if I came up here and mumbled a couple words and left, as long as the love was there. So
Yeah.
that'd be my answer to that.
I agree. And also, I think most of our when we decide to do a job, we forget of looking for something that we really love. And we lose passion because we're doing it to make money, or because my dad told me that this is what I need to do, or or what's accepted by society, and we don't look really of what we really love. And Karen, we were talking about this 5 minutes ago before we came in, that to find your purpose, Karen will always say, do you really love what you do? I remember when I started being the manager of the Center of Mexico, Karen asked me, do you love that? Do you enjoy it? And I was like, yeah, I enjoy it. Okay, if you enjoy it and you're happy doing it, it's okay. Because then you will become the best version and you will be happy sharing and doing that. And the problem is that when we're forced to do something we don't like, then we need to play a role, right? But if not, it comes naturally. It is like it's in you, like you want to do it, you're happy doing it. So it comes naturally and you're excited to share, and you're always, and in my experience, when I connected to Kabbalah when I was 28. So when I graduated from university all the way to 28, I was doing stuff, working different businesses, and every time I went into a business, every time I went into a job, I would say to myself, this is nice, I'm going to learn, but this is not what I'm going to do the rest of my life. And everybody around me was like applauding me. It's amazing what you're doing, this and that. When I met Kabbalah and I decided to become a Hevre, it was funny because it was the opposite. I knew that this is what I was going to do for the rest of my life, but everybody around me was like, what are you doing? Are you coming crazy? You're an engineer, now you're going to be a rabbi. What's wrong with you? Right? So that was, and I remember, like, to make the decision to become a Hevre, I put like, okay, why would I become a Hevre and why not? The answer, yes, it was simple. I love it. The answer, no, was fears. Fears people what will think of me. fears of, of what will happen to me in the future, if I will have money, if I will have this. So I understood, okay, clearly where's Satan coming from. And besides that, I made the decision, and it was the best decision I made in my life because I love it. So that's something I think everybody should listen more what they love. And then all the energy will come because it's your soul talking. It's your soul talking what you need to do.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jeff.
Who else?
So also
Want to
like
share. No, that's it.
Later.
Oh.
Hi, my name is Patrick, and I'm also an Aquarius.
Amazing.
January 24th.
27.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have found Kabbalah through great darkness. I was under spiritual duress for a long time for many reasons, and I'm also an intuitive, clairvoyant, whatever you'd like to call it. And that had lent to a lot of the anxiety that I've experienced throughout my life. I didn't know what it was. I fought against it. I didn't like it, and I didn't understand it. And I didn't know why it was happening. And I oftentimes thought I was crazy. I was schizophrenic. It wasn't only until 2019 where it enhanced to a point where I thought, I'm either going to lose my mind or die in some way. And so I was at a friend's house, and a message came through clear as day, and it was Michael, the archangel, and he said, ask him for that Zohar, take it home, and begin scanning, and don't stop until you're done. So I did that, and I scanned 3 to 4 hours every day for about 3.5 months, and everything changed. The darkness that was eclipsing my light abated to a certain degree. Things didn't get perfect immediately, but they got better, then they got worse, then they got better and smooth, and I was able to kind of begin to cope with it. It wasn't until a year later, 2023, I saw Kabbalah One show up somewhere on my feed, and I said, I'm going to do it. So now I have come to a place in my life where I realize one of my major tikkuns is low self-esteem, low self-worth, self-hatred to degrees that I never realized it was until recently, until doing this work. I'm in Kabbalah 8 now, and it's opened my heart so that my mind can hear the truth, so that my mind can hear the truth of my soul, as be it through my heart and through all of the guidance that I receive. My teacher, Batya, once told me, don't test the light. And I say, I'm going to test the light. But it's not that I'm testing the light of God out there. I am testing the certainty of the light that is within me, and the guidance that I am receiving. I'm accepting that this is who I am. I am accepting that this is what I'm here to do. And every day I am asking my beloved God, please let thy will be done. What would you have me do now? Right here. And I oftentimes ask myself, what is the smartest thing I can do for my highest good right now? Not tomorrow, not in 5 minutes, sitting here right now. What's the best thing I can do for the highest purpose that God would have for me? So in the guidance that I've received lately, there's no accident that I'm here right now. I quit my job in January, and I was told, you will go to Maya Goba, you will go to Rome, and you will go to Israel. So I am testing the certainty of the light within me. So as God wills it, I say, okay, I'm trusting you, but I'm also testing you. So let's see what happens. So here.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Amazing. I'll just say 2 things that when you were sharing that I wanted to call out and notice. You shared that when you first started your spiritual journey, it was good, and then it was bad, and then it was good again. I think that's a very common theme, probably for everybody that's studied Kabbalah at some point. The reason being is it becomes good because the Creator is showing you this is what's possible. Then it becomes bad because now you have to do the work. Yeah. Then you do the work, and then it becomes good again. And so I think that's incredible. Beautiful. Anything you wanted to say on that?
No, I think it's amazing. It's amazing. I think when you were speaking about, self-hatred, or that one of the tools that I learned is to understand that everything that we have is a loan. It's not ours. So, if somebody lends you money, you appreciate it, you make sure that you're going to spend it on the right way. But if somebody gives you money, for free, you say, oh, I'm going to spend it however I want. So you're not as appreciative and as responsible if you feel as alone. So then again, like if you think like everything in your life is alone, and you're like, oh my God, like the creator gave me life, and the creator gave me this relationship, and the creator gave me this job, and everything is alone, it's not for free. And also with loan comes like a certain responsibility. You need to pay back. You need to do something with it. So from there, you generate that appreciation. And that is not self-love of what you are. It's self-love of what the creator has given you, which actually is what you are, is your light, right? So it's not like if you come like, no, this, I have this, or I am this. No, this, everything I am, it's people say it's a gift. It's not a gift. It's a loan. So I need to appreciate it and use it. And I remember one time your father said something that blew my mind. One moment that there was a lot of challenges in the center. And somebody, another teacher asked Michael, like, how do you keep the energy? Even though you see all those challenges around you, how do you keep the energy, the excitement, like the push, like where you get it from? And Michael answered, it's not about what, everything that it's here, like the center, everything. If the creator says today, okay, Hasbe Shalom, this no more, my relationship and the responsibility with the creator is forever. It's like until I'm not in this world. So that's what's pushing me every day. It's not the physical things that are happening. It's the connection and the responsibility and the commitment we have to come with this. And if the creator decides to put me this, okay, I'll do it with this. And if not, okay, I'll do it with that. Right? So that's how we, that was a huge lesson that your dad gave us.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to expand on what you said, because I think it's such an important point. We look at, whether it's celebrities or people that grew up in influential households, and the common theme is this feeling of guilt, right? They call it imposter syndrome. I shouldn't have what I have. There's other people that are less fortunate than me. You can have the mentality that we should all be equal. And right, there's many different ways to look at it. But the reason why those blessings exist is not because we're any better. It's not because some of us were born with money and others weren't, and some were born with opportunity and others weren't. It's a responsibility. So David used the word loan. The way that I view it in life is it's a responsibility. You can be given all these gifts and be a selfish person, be somebody who feels guilty and, has, self-sabotage and self-hatred toward themselves because of the gift they received. Or they can say, wow, I'm so blessed. There must be a greater purpose and reason for this. And then live your life in service. How can I use the money to inspire others? How can I use the charisma that I have to inspire others, right? You take all the things that were given to you inherently and you use it to share the light with the world. When you do that, then the love for yourself increases tremendously, but then you also don't have that guilt and shame anymore because you're using it for something that's broader and more vast.
Yeah. You explain it better.
I'm learning from you. I watch you on Instagram. Anybody else would like to share, ask any questions?
I'll try to make to organize my ideas.
Sure.
Because it has been very emotional. And the thing is that it has been very emotional when I'm not an emotional person. My tikkun is in Cancer. I used to be a Capricorn, and I have 5 planets in Sagittarius. My moon is in Virgo, so I'm maybe the sweetest person or most sensitive person, as you may think. Not. So, but it always goes around and around and around. First time I listened to an explanation or to a class from Yitro, I was very connected because it was the story of this guy with the heart of stone. When I asked for my name change, I was saying they're going to put me Yitro. Actually, they put me Abraham. Then I understood why. But it goes over and over and over because when you are not, let's say, when your ego or your personality is not from, when you're a tough person or someone that is strong and brave and all these traits, and that your tikkun is being more sensitive, being, closer to your relatives, to all these type of things, it's easier to deviate once and over and over. I think for every tikkun is kind of the same. For this weekend, it's like for the 15th time that I have the message, you have to become someone more sensitive, someone more, I don't know if it's empathetic, but at least more caring, more loving person. And actually, last Tuesday, David was in Merida, where I live, and he puts this homework. Like you had these sentences to choose one, and one says, which one is the hardest one for you? And one said, being a caring, loving person. I say, oh my God, once again, Indito, someone from my, from the past appeared this week asking for, like for forgiveness, something that he did, like very crazy stuff. So I think the takeaway from now is like, it's been 15 years, like having this message of that I have to be a more sensitive, caring, loving, person, more with my relatives, with my surroundings. And I think it's time to do it. Like, like it's been 15 at like it's the 15th time that I will try it. And I wish after I make it that I'll have a new challenge, because that's when the Sagittarius comes and say, okay, give me more.
Right.
But, for once and for all, I hope I will become someone more caring and sensitive. That's
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. Beautiful. And you absolutely will, because you have the desires, so that it means that it must manifest, right?
I hope.
No, you will.
I will.
You will. Amazing. Very cool. Yes. Yeah.
Dale, ven.
No, you translate.
I translate.
I mean, I can't try. I try, but
Okay.
poquito.
Un poquito. Ajá. Tengo casi un año de como haber iniciado en el tema del Kabbalah. I have a year of initiated with Kabbalah. La realidad es que me encontró, yo en un camino a Argentina y me encontré el libro de tu papá que es Ser como Dios. He found the book of Becoming Like God of Michal. ¿Y quién demonios se cree este güey para escribir eso? No mames. ¿Qué pedo? Por eso lo compré. Who does this guy think to write something like that? Like, that's why he bought it. Me subí al avión y lo leí en una sentada. O sea, yo cumplí 33 años el 26 de marzo y lo empecé a leer el 25. Para el 26 lo terminé de leer. His birthday is 23rd of March. No, 26th of March, and he started reading it 25th. And by his birthday, he finished. So one day he finished the whole book. Sin duda, despertó algo en mí, me conectó. Yo vengo de una familia cristiana. He comes from a Christian family, and something in this book connected him. Y toda la vida fui criado en el tema de la conexión con Dios y lo que representa la espiritualidad. So he was, raised all his life with what the relationship with God and what spirituality means. Pero hubo un choque, como a los 14, 15 años, como no me hacía sentido la discrepancia entre la ausencia de poder manifestar materialmente y la incapacidad. Siento que la gente que normalmente conozco espiritual no es alguien que yo admire, ¿no? Como no admiro. So, yeah, it's crazy. I was thinking about this today. So, so at 14 and 15, it was like it was disruptive for him, all these lessons, because he saw that there was a discrepancy between manifesting materially and spirituality. Like, so it was like he didn't know how to handle this. Y hay una batalla, ¿no? There was a war. Espiritual tienes menos, y si eres más material tienes menos espiritualidad. Exacto. So let me say. So if you are spiritual, like you should not have, and then but I want to have. So how to have both. Es que, o sea, bueno, a los 18 años en una crisis, conozco el desarrollo personal, como el coaching, ¿no? So at 18 he met personal development, coaching. Y de ahí a la fecha fue como algo que me rescató, fue como un salvavidas que me permitió como materialmente manifestar todo lo que para mí era un sueño, ¿no? So from then until now, like that coaching and personal development, it was like a lifesaver that helped him to manifest in his life what the dreams. Había como un vacío, ¿no? But there was an emptiness. Y llega el libro y es como si mamás y papás se hubieran hecho las paces, se habían divorciado. Entonces fue como se juntó mamá y papá. So this book, The Becoming Like God, Ser como Dios. This book, it was like if mom and dad, they were divorced and then they made pieces. Like these two things united, these two concepts. Pero en este año, la verdad es que creo que he leído la mayoría de todos los libros de Kabbalah y también me he metido a varios cursos y como que he tenido mucha hambre. Pero constantemente, hoy que estaba aquí viendo la ceremonia, todo, como que no deja mi cabeza de pensar. Como siento que como todos los protocolos que se siguen, aunque me gusta la conciencia desde la que lo hacen, como hay una cierta duda de fondo, ¿sabes? Okay. So he was like he's saying all the prayers and all the protocols and everything that we follow, like even though he feels that it's a good consciousness behind it, there's like a doubt inside of him.
Como, siendo honesto, siento que soy, o sea, como, creo que es mi pasado me alcanza, ¿no?
Yeah, like his past is catching up.
Y aunque la energía es linda, es bonita, como no dejo de pensar como muchas veces como qué tanto están realmente o qué tanto estoy enfocado en el protocolo material más allá de lo inmaterial que es lo real. O sea, lo que me cautivó de la Kabbalah
Ajá.
fue, me encanta la física cuántica.
Ah,
Y entonces cuando yo había estudiado muchísimo física cuántica, y entonces sentí que fue como la fusión. Y
So-
perdón, no chance, ¿verdad? Discúlpame.
I forgot. No, I'm just kidding. No, so he loves quantum physics and all these protocols and praying, like it make a shock on him. So, and that's what captivating him, all the logic behind Kabbalah, like it's very scientific, the science behind it.
Y como, o sea, el punto crucial es como siento como que mi cabeza siente lo que pasa, siente la vibración, lo que está ocurriendo, como he tenido a alguien que me está guiando, pero no dejo de pensar como todo el tiempo, como el fijarme tanto en estas cosas como materiales y hazlo así, hazlo asado y así, como que siento que me saca de la experiencia, ¿no? Que entiendo que es el propósito de la experiencia. Y de fondo también tengo duda, como decir, no estoy como ahora encontrando una nueva manera de seguir un protocolo y como, ¿sabes?
Voy a encarcelarte.
Exacto, como que conozco muchas cosas que también me hacen sentido y como que de repente pensar, me siento un poco como Karen, ¿sabes? Cuando he leído mucho como de ella, como Karen, como decir como, si es verdad, o sea, ¿quién me dice que esto realmente me hace sentir bien? Pero como que hay una duda de terminar siendo a lo mejor con mi mamá, como personas así que, aunque las amo con todo mi corazón, tengo miedo, ¿sabes?
Okay. So he's afraid basically of becoming religious.
Eso es todo, gracias.
No.
The spark notes.
Spark notes. No, but he was saying also about Karen, that Karen always was like, okay, if this is real, then, like test it. Not only like do it religiously, like because everything needs to be this way and you need to follow these rules and it's all about following these rules. And like he feels trapped
Right.
in a certain way that he needs to follow the rules, like everything we do.
Right. Right.
That's a great question for you, by the way.
Yeah. I'll answer it. I think that first of all, thank you for sharing and being open and vulnerable. I think the best thing about Kabbalah is that you can ask questions, right? That's where it's different. Many other practices, definitely religion, it's dogmatic. This is how it is, and this is why you have to follow it because it says in this book. In Kabbalah, if you have doubts, I mean, that's why we're here, right? I think we all came here because we tried other things. We asked questions that we didn't get the answers to. And finally, something resonates with us and gives us the answers that we're looking for. So definitely, if you have doubts, and I mean, we all have doubts. I have doubts every day about my study of spirituality, my practice of it. I mean, it's healthy. It's there to allow us to go deeper, to understand on a deeper level, to build a stronger connection internally as well. So I would say that first of all. And then you also spoke about money. I know it seems like you kind of got to a place where you understand it, but I was talking with somebody a couple of days ago, and they shared with me that money doesn't feel like a spiritual thing. So they said that I have a great idea for a business, but I want it to be a charity. I don't want to make any money off of it. I said, why? They said, because, it's a good thing to do for the world. It's a good business also, but I just don't want to take money or get money from people. And I told them, and I shared with them, I said, money is one of the most spiritual things in the world. In the study of Kabbalah, we learn that when you have money, when you receive money, it's the purest form of the light of the Creator. The reason why people fight over money, the reason why wars are started over money, divorces happen because of money, is because it holds so much energy. It's like as if you took the Creator, put him into a small little box, and then that's, manifestation of money. And the reason being is that either you can do a lot of good with money or you can do a lot of bad with money. And so when you have a desire to connect spiritually and there's a desire to make money, the two don't contradict each other. They're the same exact thing. It just depends on the lens that you're looking at it through. It's good to dedicate your time to the study of spirituality and sharing with others. But if you have the ability to manifest great money in this world and also share with others spiritually, it's the highest form of connection. So in my own life, right, I never disconnect the two. Unfortunately, when I started the company, I saw it as separate. I said, when I'm volunteering in the center, that's my spiritual work. When I'm running my business, that's not. And then I would see, one, I would become reactive in my business. I wasn't living a spiritual life when I was working. And then I would come to the center and I was being spiritual. So that's a contradiction. But the business being spiritual is not a contradiction. And my spiritual work also maybe, well, they wouldn't be financial because that's not my interest. But if somebody had a passion for spirituality, for the world, and they also could make money doing it, that wouldn't be a bad thing as long as their consciousness is in the right place. But definitely on the business side of things, it needs to be spiritual. So Yeah.
Yeah, I think I relate a lot to him because I also came, it's the same background. I was very rejecting religiosity and praying and all of that when I was younger. And it's funny, when I read it, my book was not the Becoming Like God, it was the book of Nano, of the Raf, where, because I also like quantum physics and I also come from a logical mind. I'm an engineer. So when all these prayers and all of this came, it was also a shock for me. And what I would recommend you is, first of all, ask questions, because there's a why for everything we do. There's a purpose. Nothing is like because it said so. And I think that's what shocked us. That is like, okay, before it's like, and if you really, I would suggest that don't feel obligated to do anything. Like you need to have, because the light cannot manifest if there's no desire. So if you don't have a desire and you're just doing it because they told you need to do it, then there won't be light. There won't be light. But how you awaken a desire when you know what you're doing, when you know what's the purpose of what you're doing. So why we come to Shabbat, why we do this, why we pray that, what energy you're receiving, what's happening in you. So there you awaken a desire, and then the light can be manifested. No, but doing it just, and this happens at the beginning, I think, to most people. Because they're used to either doing it, without consciousness, and they're in a process of learning and awakening a desire to do it with the right reasons. But it's a process. And what David said, you need to ask. Don't be ashamed or think that you're gonna offend somebody by asking, because that's the way that you will awaken desire and actually do it with desire, and then the light can be manifested. Okay.
Beautiful.
Great.
Yeah.
I think like in 5 minutes, yes, are coming.
We'll cut it to them. But yes, you wanted to share something. How are you?
Hi, I'm Aaron from Panama. I've been in the center for a couple of years, and I felt
Feels like
So-
a couple of years, right?
feels like a couple of years. So I want to ask both of you a question about manifestation, and it's not only about money and business, but it's also about personal life. So I've been trying to fundraise for my startup for a couple of years, and I haven't been able to actually manifest it. And also, I've been trying to move to another country and not been able to manifest. So, you hear a lot in the center when you've been for many years, like you have to learn to let go. Let go of the desire and let the creator do its job. So my question to you is, when do you keep pushing and keep being persistent and diligent and keep being resilient with your desire? And what do you say, something I have to let go. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this is for my ego. Maybe I have to try something, A, B, C, or D. How do you do that?
Great question. Thank you for sharing. It's funny because it's something that I can relate to that. I raised money for my startup earlier this year, but I think the first thing is that you have the desire, like we've been sharing throughout the evening. If you have the desire and the desire is persistent, then you're definitely meant to pursue it. When we get complicated and we try to understand, is it my ego, is it not my ego? That's the opponent trying to interfere with what we're meant to manifest. My dad always says, if it's simple, it's like the creator. If it's complicated, then it's the opponent. So with regards to the actual manifestation and pushing through of it, when you wake up in the morning, you need to push 110% to raising the money, making the 100 phone calls, going to the interviews, calling VCs, talking to people you know. But then when you go to sleep at night, that's when you surrender. So you can't physically do anything. You say, creator, I'm going to sleep now, but please continue my manifestation and help me. But then the next morning when you wake up, you have to understand that it's only because of you. The creator can't do anything for you if you're not pushing at 110%. And with regards to the letting go, it's something, again, that I experienced. First of all, raising money I think it's the hardest thing in the world to do. Like, I'd arguably say it's probably the hardest thing to do. Many people are not successful with it. But if the desire within you is persistent for long enough, it'll work. For me, it took me 6 to 7 months, 100 no's, maybe I think 400 no's before I got a single yes. And then I had the confidence and the certainty that it would start to manifest, and that's when it started to work. But I think like the simple answer is you have the desire, pursue it like crazy. The letting go component only applies when you've actually given it your all and then you physically have to let go and give it to the creator. But I wouldn't stop as long as the desire is there.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and also the process, those no's builds you.
Right.
Because sometimes we don't ask because we're fear of rejection. We have fear of, somebody telling you you're not doing the right thing. So that's also a test. It's like a test that you need to do a breakthrough. And then when you do that breakthrough and you're doing it with the right intention and that energy, it manifests.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I know you asked about moving, so I don't know if you wanted to, if you have a student that comes to you and says, should I move to this place? Should I not move? How do you give them advice?
I don't know. I feel, at least for me, I feel it's the energy of the place. And one of the things that actually Rav Ashlag taught is that you need to choose the right environment. So if your environment is not supporting you, you need to run after an environment that is actually going to support you and that believes in you, but and also a spiritual environment that puts like the light of the creator first. So another reason I became Hever and decided to go to LA at the beginning, and then Karen sent me to Mexico, was that I need to be surrounded by people, that are into this. Because if I'm not surrounded by people, then I don't have that environment to actually make it happen.
Right.
And the environment is a key component of actually getting to the next level.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I just want to close it off because I know we have the Spiritually Hungry podcast with my parents in a minute. Again, for those of you that just joined us, that were here the whole time, the key takeaways for myself from this chat and being inspired by all of you is, as we go back to our lives, one, we should question everything, regardless of whether it makes complete sense to us or not. Two, if the desire exists within you, you're meant to manifest that thing. And thirdly, I think that's so important, your environment is everything. So if you want to raise money, be around people that are doing that. If you want to connect more spiritually, find your people that are connected to that. When we're alone on a journey, it's very hard to do anything. When we have supportive people around us, everything becomes possible. So thank you all for being here. It was an absolute pleasure.